All right, advent of code, day 22. Here we go. Crab comment. It only takes a few hours of sailing the ocean on a raft for boredom to sink in. Fortunately, you bought a small deck of space cards. You'd like to play a game of combat, and there's even an opponent available, a small crab that climbed aboard your raft. It doesn't take long to teach the crab the rules. Before the game starts, split so each player has their own deck of cards. Cool. The game consists of a series of rounds. Both players draw their top card. The player with the higher value card wins the round. The winner keeps both cards, placing them on the bottom of their own deck so that the winner's card is above the card. If this causes a player to have all the cards they win, and the game ends. 9 on, okay. The first rounds. Oh, okay. I see. Once the game ends, you can calculate the winning player's score. The bottom card in their deck is worth the value of the card multiplied 1 and 1. Okay. Grouped stirs. Deck 1 equals grouped stirs 0, 1 dot map to I. Deck 2 puts deck 1 dot inspect 38 through 45. Great. What is the winning player's score? While deck empty and not deck 2 dot empty. C1 equals deck 1 dot shift. C2 if C1 is greater than C2, else deck 1, C1, 2. Okay. And then deck 1 dot reverse. Deck 1 plus deck 2 dot map that each with index I do card I sum equals 0, sum plus equal card times I plus 1. Puts sum. $30. There we go. All right, you lost to the small crab. Unfortunately, cards aren't very good at recursion. To defend your honor as raft captain, you challenge the small crab to a game of recursive combat. Starts by splitting the deck into 2 decks. You offer to play with the same darn decks, but it's only fair. Okay. Before either player deals a card, if there was a previous round in which this game had exactly the same cards in the same order in the same player's decks, the game instantly ends in a win for player 1. Previous rounds from other games are not considered. Otherwise, this round's cards must be in a new configuration. The players must begin the round by each drawing the top card on the deck as normal. If both players have at least as many cards remaining in their deck as the value of the card they just drew, the winner of the round is determined by playing scene decks. Scene equals this. D1 equals deck 1 dot dupe. Okay. Def play cursive D1 D2. If scene dot include d1 d2 return 1, I guess. C1 deck. Okay. If C1 is less than equal deck1 dot count and C2 is less than equal deck2 dot count, else at least one player might not have, if C1 is greater than C2, return 1, else return 2. As in regular combat, the winner of the round, even if they won the round by winning a subgame, the game instantly ends. Oh. Winner equals play recursive. Winner equals 1. Winner equals 2. At least one player must not have enough cards left in the deck to recurse of the round. Okay. Okay. If winner equals 1, takes the 2 cards dealt, okay, might be lower. If deck1 dot empty, return 2. Okay. During a round of recursive combat, if both players have at least as many cards in the deck as the number of cards they dealt, the winner of the round is determined by recursing into a subgame of recursive combat. Each player creates a new deck by making a copy of new deck 1 equals deck 1 0 to C1 minus 1. The quantity of cards copied is equal to the number on the card they drew to trigger the subgame. Deck 1, new deck 2. laptop. I think this is fine. Play recursive. D1, D2. Wait. Okay, not 3524. Uh, 92631. Okay. Puts d1.inspect. Interesting. Oh. Okay, I think I did something wrong. What is going on? $38, $34. Okay, that's correct. Oh, it's just in this game. Okay. Oh, I forgot my loop. I'll loop do. Oh, okay. I just need to wait. What? 32545. Okay, not 32545 either. Require set a equals set dot new a 1 2 a dot include 1 1 2. Okay. Oh, okay. Now it's running, and I think I just need to wait. 37160. Oh. Dang, still wrong? Not 37160. But it worked for the example. Why do I keep getting different values? Three, 2, 1. Oh my goodness. I have to wait 5 minutes before trying again? Oh my goodness. Not 33934. How the heck is this non-deterministic? What? Wow, this is just baffling. What? Before either player deals a card, if there is a previous round in this game, with a few changes. If there was a previous round in this game that had the exact same cards in the same order in the same player's decks, the game instantly ends in a win for player 1. Okay, so I return 1. If deck 1 is empty, player 2 1. If deck 2 is empty, player 1 1. Otherwise, this round's cards must be in a new configuration. The players begin, I say we've seen this before. The players begin by drawing cards. If both players have at least as many cards remaining in their deck as the value of the card they just drew. Then the winner of the round is determined by playing a new game of recursive combat. Otherwise, at least one player must not have enough cards to recurse. The winner of the round is the player with the higher value card. Why do my numbers constantly change? Otherwise, the winner of the round is the higher value card. Oh God, wait, what? No, this is fine. As in regular combat, the winner of the round, even if they won the round by playing a sub-game, takes the 2 cards dealt at the bottom of their card and places them on the bottom of their own deck, so that the winner's card is above the other card. It might be the lower valued of the 2 cards if they won the round due to winning a sub-game. What? Oh. There we go. That was the issue. Let's just run it again. Oh my God, no. Okay, this time it will be correct. It just might take a little while longer. Man, okay, that was super confusing. I haven't seen that before. 3, 4, 1, 7, 3. Yeah, okay, not on the leaderboard, but all right, that's, oh, wow, that was confusing. Cool. Let's check out the leaderboard. So, wow, I got 213, and I was at 330 in 30th place. Dang, there we go. On fire. And then part 2 was 2053, and I got like 24. Ugh, bummer. I can't code. It's a good name. I definitely could have done a lot better. That's a bummer. Okay, but let's see. All right. So bottom of the overall leaderboard is 542, and with another big day in a row, I got 71 points. I'm now at 265. 542 minus 265. 3 days to go. Okay, that's a lot of points I need to get every day. Maybe it's not going to happen. All right, anyway, let's go over this problem again. All right, crab combat. It only takes a few hours of sailing the ocean on a raft for boredom to sink in. Fortunately, you brought a small deck of space cards. Space cards? Oh my god, this problem was brutal. You'd like to play a game of combat. And there's even an opponent available, a small crab that climbed aboard your raft before you left. Fortunately, it doesn't take long to teach the crab the rules. Before the game starts, split the cards so each player has their own deck. Your puzzle input. This is our input. My cards, their cards. There's only one of each card, which is good. Then the game consists of a series of rounds. Both players draw their top card, and the player with the higher value card wins the round. The winner keeps both cards, placing them on the bottom of their own deck so that the winner's card is above the other card. If this causes a player to have all of the cards, they win and the game ends. So we get our decks by have this very handy grouped stirs input function, which breaks up an input by double new line. So this is deck 1. We skip the first player 1 header and then map everything to an integer. So those are our decks. We're going to copy them because we'll need them later. Or these are the copies, but we're going to deal with the originals. So while neither deck is empty, we get a card from both decks. If the first player's card is higher, then we put their card back on their deck, and then the other person's card on the deck. If the other card is higher, then their card goes first, and then the other person's card. At the end, we want to consider their final score, which we do by taking the bottom card in their deck. The bottom card in the deck is worth the value of the card multiplied by 1. Second from the bottom card is worth the value of the card multiplied by 2. So we're going to reverse the decks. And then because one of these is empty, we don't have to deal with like calculating it for deck 1 and then deck 2. We can just like smush the decks together. And then iterate with the index, which starts at 0. And so we add to our sum the card value times the index plus 1. And that gives us our score, part 1. Then that's great and dandy. So for part 1, we just play the game and print out the winning player's score. Then for part 2, we play this game called recursive combat. So recursive combat is going to work similarly with 2 decks. Before either player deals a card, if there was a previous round in this game, not a different game, but in this game that had exactly the same cards in the same order in the same player's decks, the game instantly ends in a win for player 1. So we create a set of positions we've seen, and then this is where I lost all my time. We are modifying these decks as we go through and play this game. In Ruby, you can use arrays in sets and as like keys and hashes, but you have to make sure to not modify them. So we don't need that. And I don't think we need to dupe them when we check if they're in the set. So this rule, same rule, if either the deck is empty, one of those players wins. So we're going to return 2 or 1, indicating which player won. If we've seen that position before, we say that player 1 wins. So we say we've seen this position, taking care to duplicate our decks. Then, all right, let's see if this is faster without the second dupe. Cool. Otherwise, the cards are in a new configuration. Draw the top cards on the deck as normal. So we do that. If both players have at least as many cards remaining in their deck as the value of the card they just drew, so if deck1.count is greater or equal to C1 and deck2.count is greater or equal to C2, then we're going to play recursive again, and the winner of that will be the winner of this round. And I don't think I need those either. Otherwise, at least one player must not have enough cards left in their deck to recurse. The winner of the round is the player with the higher value card. And so that's just as before. If C1 is higher than C2, the winner's 1, else the winner's 2. And then when the winner is 1, we do the same thing where we put the cards back on the deck. Cool. So then when you play the recursive game of combat, if both players have at least as many cards in their deck, wow, that takes a while. Part 2. If both players have at least as many cards in their deck as the number of cards that they just dealt, we recurse into a subgame of recursive combat. To make a subgame, you create a new deck by copying the next cards in their deck equal to the value of the card that they drew. So person 1 drew C1, so we're going to get C1 elements from their deck, and we're going to get C2 elements from player 2's deck, but it's a copy. And then we'll play the recursive game. And so that's... And then at the end, we need to calculate the winning player's score as before. And then here, I kind of do this in a hacky way. I pass in D1 and D2 are the original copies of the deck that we made up here. Because those are passed in by reference, anytime I'm modifying the deck in here, that's actually modifying this deck here. So I can just do the same trick where we reverse the decks, combine them, count up things, and then print out the score at the end. Cool. So that's day 22. And yeah, as I mentioned, in Ruby, if you use something as the key of a hash or a set, if you use an array as the key of a hash, or if you use an array as an element of a set, you can't modify that later. And so because I was modifying it, this scene.include was just like non-deterministically saying, oh yeah, I've seen this, or no, I haven't. And that was causing problems, lots of problems, because I was getting a different answer every time, so it was very confusing. But now it works. So that's that. What's up, Mr. Person? It took a little while for part 2. December 22nd, 2020 solution. Cool. So that's advent of code, day 22. Day 22.